Hey everybody, in this video I want to talk about front-end test-driven development because it's a topic that the least people, these are my key learnings and how I'm doing it whenever I of a new component test. But it's not just about component tests, it's about complete integration tests, maybe some pages in a React Native application. You get the point. You can see my screen here, and in the simulator, because it's about a React Native app, but the principles apply to every kind of single page web application or web application. I built something like a storybook, if you're familiar with that concept. If you're not, don't worry, it's just a component which has tabs, as you can tell, and renders a component in it. And this is exactly the place where I'm going to create my examples. Before I get to that, let's just talk about this playground thing. You can see some things like Safe Area Provider, which is just there to not overflow this thing here. So it's all nice and clean inside the viewport. Then we have the gesture handler, which is all kind of irrelevant. And the interesting part comes here because I built a navigator around this. Because maybe I don't want comments. As an example, I might have, for example, inputs, and then I can say render story for the input specs, which I don't have right now. What does this render story make? It gets array of stories. Stories are a type of title, string, and component, and those stories are all displayed within its own tab screen. And since I only have one spec right now, I will show this to you. Comment. This is the comment spec. First example is the create comment. After that comes the pure comment, and at last comes the comment list. This is very interesting because you can create some examples for like test cases, and the testing principle, like seeing the failing test, fixing it, refactoring, and then repeating, applies to front end as well as to backend. Let's say I want to introduce a new feature. The idea is that I can delete comments inside the comment, which is currently not possible. I would just think about, okay, how do I do this? I have the pure comment, and I want the pure comment. I make this without delete because I don't want. Oh, okay. Let's just keep things simple and evolve over time. Pure component with delete. This is my new test case. Component A component. Today isn't the perfect day to write tests. We can now say we have our comment card, just like the previous example with author details, make user. I'm a huge fan of those utility functions inside test cases, those factories, because they make your life so much easier. Yes, author details make user, and created that is equal to a new date. Because I don't really care about what's in this date, I just want to see if the format is right. And then we can say the comment contains the content hello world. And what do you need? Oops. Okay. Now you can see pure comment with delete. Okay, it's overflowing, but that's fine for our cases. And it's just like the same thing. Now I want to think about the API. The API should be something like the comment card has a flag which tells me I can delete this. So I'm thinking about, okay, one other thing. I need to specify the delete callback because I do not want the comment card, which is a dumb component, to know anything about things like deleting itself. This should be part of the container because there's this principle where you have the component and you have the wrapping container, and the wrapping container is keeping the state and the functionality about fetching data, refreshing data, deleting data, and so on. Now I would say comment card with the delete function, or let's say delete is equal to this. And since we only want to see if the delete is triggered once we click on the delete icon button, we just say delete triggered. You can see this when you're looking right here. I've made a similar thing, because if I now say test as a comment, I said after upload triggered, and I printed out the payload that I get. So this one has actually been the payload that I got from this when I click here. This is the image upload, and you can see the alert upload triggered as well. And you have the different values. Okay, so now let's get back to this. I want the delete button to appear. The first step is to create the failing test. And in this case, it's not even compiling and has issues. So we are going to fix this delete one. We do this by introducing a new flag, delete, which is in our case just a callback. Now you can see this errors go away, but the pure comment fails because we are not providing a delete. This means we should make this optional, because not in every case there is a delete. Maybe one comment should be displayed on its own and should not be deletable from that view. You can see there is no button. Why? Because we haven't introduced it yet. We will do this right here. Create the icon button with the icon of delete. Should be the trick. Yes, we have the delete button. You can see it is not doing anything because we are missing our on press. You can say here alert test. Yes, it's printing our test, but we are expecting our delete triggered. So we are going to call the props.delete. You already see there is an issue, and I know that. I want to show you something very specific, because now you can see we have the comment list and it's displayed everywhere. Our test fails, therefore. The pure comment and the comment list aren't expected to have this one, except I'm going to specify them to have this. So I would say only if there is a delete, then do this, and otherwise just render nothing. Okay, so the pure comment now doesn't have any delete icons anymore, and the pure comment with delete has, and the comment list doesn't. Okay. Delete triggered, just like we're expecting it. And this is a very minimalistic example of how to approach test-driven development for UI components. This is only possible, and I would say this one more time, just the component and container method pattern. Find out more about it on my recent blog post, and if you liked the episode, then follow this channel and give this video a thumbs up. Bye.